Zombies in pop culture have been a thing since the 1932 film White Zombie. I wanted to give a funny summary and make fun of it, but I realized that the movie would be in black and white, which means that it's old, which means that it's stupid. But it wasn't until 34 years later that zombies would really take off with Night of the Living Dead. And while it is in black and white, it is also worth reflecting upon. I'm coming for you, pretty white lady. I sees you! I found you, bitch! That would be pretty freaky back in the day, so zombies presumably lived in children's nightmares for years to come and fueled the success of movie after movie, video game after video game. Bam, 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 bam. It was like Isekai but for Americans, gaining more mass every decade. Like Americans. Some of the most recognizable and beloved series ever came from the zombie boom. Resident Evil, Dead Rising, Left 4 Dead, Shaun of the Dead, Walking Dead, dead-ass zombies were and still are the shit. Everybody wanted a slice, especially in the post-2000s where the actual good stuff comes from. So in 2006, some guy who designs board games and some goober who draws porn have an equally stupid idea. Everybody likes zombies. High school. Ecchi. Okay, so we're making a dojo. We give it a story. But don't you make board games? What the fuck? This is the topic. Highschool of the Dead is an action horror ecchi show made in 2010 and was a hugely popular show back in the day. So much so that I would reckon most people watching this video have seen it before and recall it fondly. I certainly remember liking it, but that was a long time ago. You don't remember shit, I don't remember anything, and even if you haven't seen the show at all, let's go back and take a look at what the 57th most popular show on my anime list was like. Highschool of the Dead had a pretty metal opening. Zombies are everywhere, stinky cooter in the first minute. This is where you meet Takashi, who was this girl's childhood best friend, but is getting cucked by his male best friend. While Takashi's being all emo on the roof, he sees some zombie shit going down and runs to tell his crush so they can get out of there, but she is all, wah, wah, my heart doesn't know how to write female. Listen to me! Did she just... No, it must have been the wind. So after that, everyone's like, holy shit, he means business. Wow.
We should be okay if we run together, Miss Suzu. Of course I will. Because you and her BFFs, Tashina. Damn it, bitch, I said let go!
A pretty major detail of the show is how goofy it is. They can't go more than a minute without flashing panties. The girls stand up and their tits jiggle, point at something, jiggle, strap in a seatbelt, jiggle. Oh, I am just a confused woman. Boing, boing. Yet, the show takes itself so seriously at the same time. The characters fall into fake, deep, introspective monologues constantly, yet it's all very surface-level shit, which makes you think that they're totally going for something more serious, but at the same time...
And as for the living, they just swarm around like bugs looking for
Why?
the light.
There's not even a comedy tag on Mal or Netflix. It's like the show doesn't actually know it's being stupid. I like to imagine the author was like, and then I stick the big titty girl on top of the car because I am just a mere board game merchant. This makes sense to me. Fetch me more cranberries. Oh, this fucking guy. Let's get back to the story. The trio attempts to escape the schools, and the only thing separating Takashi from scoring some epic cooch is this chick's boyfriend. So the author has him get bit, and Takashi bashes his brains out, but both the audience and the girl know what's actually up.
You must have hated Hisashi, am I right? Because he was dating me!
No! I'm pretty surprised he didn't just slap her right there. Takashi really likes doing that. Eventually, all our characters meet up. This is Tsundere, Weeb, Edgy Sword Girl, and Chest Meat. Funny thing about Tsundere, she is actually 8 weasels hiding under the skin of a rotten sea witch that are specially trained to be as annoying as possible by human standards. I was initially watching the dub for nostalgic reasons, but soon switched over to the sub because of this thing alone. If you can stomach her, you get this guy who is actually the person I would least trust with a gun.
I was holding back. I was holding back for a long time!
I can even kill living people.
Don't worry about any other male characters in Highschool of the Dead. You live or die based on if you're male or if they didn't put enough effort in your character design. After the gang creates a plan to leave, we get to see how actually pretty nice the art is. Considering that this is 2010, I think they outdid themselves with some of the action. We find out that the zombies are extremely slow, blind, and only respond to sound. Using this knowledge, they run as loudly as possible towards a bus. They might as well have had T1 jogging behind them, but oh wait, crazy people! Yeah, can't forget about this crazy man.
Brave students. What do you say, guys?
Yep, he's fucking the shit out of them. We actually watched him do crazy guy shit. The main girl is saying, hey, maybe we should let this guy on the bus, without giving any actual reasons why. But hey, the main character is wearing fingerless gloves. I have no reason to think this man is incapable of making good decisions. He seems well adjusted. Actually, maybe they would be useful in this situation. Who am I? The gang gets perfectly separated from each other because of plot, which leads Takashi and Girl to go on their filler adventure to recap the story so far on episode 4 and pump gas. Oh, what? It's the only black guy on the show. I'm actually... Where was this made again? They meet up with the rest of the group and head to some ultra-safe mansion that they admit is pretty impossible for zombies to get to. And then they're like, no, this isn't safe. And they go to a bigger mansion that's owned by the Tsundere's parents. And the author's like, no, we need a reason why that isn't safe. How about an EMP only in Japan? And I guess it deactivates car brakes. And I guess the crazy man was driving, so he breaks a barricade and all the zombies walk in, I suppose. Reasonable. Everyone watches the zombies very slowly approach the mansion except for the main cast, who then escapes. The end. Now you may be thinking, Scam, couldn't they just move over there and not make noise? Yes, that has always been an option. The show was pretty bad, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It was hard enough to retell the story without making you want to watch some other shit, so I just skipped half of it. I will say, I can kind of understand why Baby Scam and so many others made this 57th on my anime list. How many zombie anime were there really back then? As we know, zombies were mad popular around this time, especially to younger people. For a long time, I would sit with my homies and discuss apocalypse plans. I'd monopolize and fortify apartment complexes. We talked about whose house we'd all go to. He was obviously the guy whose dad had all the guns. I'd throw knives and all that shit. I was fucking 16 saying this shit. Like, I had a whole beard, and I can't grow a beard, and I still talk about this, so can you imagine how a decently animated zombie show was to me and a bunch of other young people? Also, boobies. For me, this was pre-hentai. I'd only heard about that in theory, so I lived in this perpetual mode of edging, drifting from ecchi to ecchi. Highschool of the Dead? There's more butthole than a major city in June. It is literally famous for its legendarily retarded scenes like this one that you might have seen. So, for me personally, I was just here for the jugs and zombies. What else were people watching for? The main character. No one actually bangs another character in anime, especially not 2010 ecchi, so that was awesome. The more notable trait is he doesn't care about anything. Here's a clip after he bangs the sword chick.
Or not, I need
Hey, you're gonna rip it off! Here's him being romantic.
What's the matter?
I don't know if I should kiss you right now or smack the hell out of you.
He's not joking. The guy is kind of savage. Even in the beginning, he isn't all that shocked about the zombie thing and goes straight to slashing through heads. It's not very often you see a main character who's sure of himself and isn't all that certainly helped it stick out. And I think this is all very strategic. There are certain norms that are important in Japan and to young men in general. For example, on episode 10, the weeb gets told to put away his gun by an older man, and he complies. When asked why he listened to them, he responds, because he's an adult. Later in the episode, he's again pressed for his guns, and while he's not giving them up, he does sit there pathetically without defending himself. And who comes to his side other than the defier of social norms himself, Takashi? Throughout the show, they portray adults as crazy, mind-broken idiots that believe themselves to be entirely in the right all the time, while the good guy teenagers are the only ones that have a grip on reality. Mainly, Takashi, the awesome chunk of testosterone you're supposed to look up to. To young people, it can feel like you don't have a voice amongst adults even if you're in the right, especially in Japan where, I believe, you're not really supposed to question people that are older than you, far more than in Western culture. This dweeb is supposed to paint a contrast on a certain type of person, someone who follows most norms, represses their true urges, and doesn't beat women against Takashi, who represents this rebellious edgemaster. Which is why watching the show a little closer made me feel like the author was saying, hey dudes, adults are like so lame, right? You guys dab? Play Fortnite? I get it, you want teens to buy your book, chill. Get the fucking board game out of my face. Here's what I think. The characters make ridiculous decisions, stuff flat out doesn't make sense.
Jesus Christ, there's a wire!
Holy fuck, string!
The fan service is genuinely annoying to me. I think the show is bad. I think the show is horrible, but engineered to attract young people, which worked. As a kid, you're not looking at this and thinking, damn, that's retarded. You're thinking, I hope Anthony doesn't punch me in the stomach tomorrow because that would suck. Also,
Whoa!
That's about it. I could keep going, but you get the idea. Do you agree? Do you think it sucked and we only liked it because our brains were full of milk and SpongeBob quotes? Or is the show really awesome? Let me know. But when you do that, just make sure you're doing so securely. With bugs. They bite, they squirm, they taste like M&Ms, and best of all, they're free. Oh, I read that wrong. This is a sponsor for NordVPN, not bugs. I racked my head for a relatable story that would make you guys think, Nord sounds pretty cool. And then the stupid idiot from high school popped into my head. He had been downloading things that his internet service provider was not happy with. They even sent him a letter essentially saying, hey, if you keep doing that, we're just going to disconnect your service for one, and you're going to get in trouble for two. He was obviously freaked out and went cold turkey on any internet browsing that he thought might be an issue. But this is not a smart person graphic from anyone trying to take a peek. This means schools, parents, etc. You can also use a VPN to make it appear as if you're in a completely different location. Maybe a video on YouTube is blocked in your country and you want to do a quick switch. There's many uses for a VPN, but these two are some of the most relevant to me. If you want in on this, NordVPN will soon be having their final 2-year plan sale. Use discount code Scamboli for 70% off a 2-year plan with an extra month free. Thanks for watching. See ya.